Hi, I'm Gary. Today we're making an oven roasted tomato soup and grilled cheese to go along with it using a sheet tray. Really simple, flavorful, doesn't need a lot of attention, and really delicious. So if that sounds good to you, please subscribe to the channel and give us a like, and let's get started. Let me quickly take you through the ingredients. We have some plum tomatoes, a sweet onion, yellow onion, a head of garlic. I've got a little brown sugar. You can use regular sugar. This is for insurance, really, not flavor. I'm using a smoky paprika. This is a Pimentón de la Vera, dried oregano, and some chili flakes, salt, freshly cracked black pepper, and some extra virgin olive oil. And when we get ready to finish the soup, I have some chicken broth, which we're going to warm with a couple of bay leaves. Now, really simple. This is the whole point of it. So I'm just going to start halving all of our tomatoes and getting those onto our tray. And then we'll add our onion as well. So using a fairly small sheet tray, use larger, you can increase the quantity. The point is to give yourself some space on the sheet tray because we're going to roast this in a very hot oven and we want a little bit of char because that's going to add some nice smokiness and flavor. And this is all about flavor and ease on you. So we'll get on and we'll just finish chopping for having our tomatoes. And I got these from a little market that is very close to me here in Vera in Spain. And we're not worried about the stems, because we're going to use this in a blender, but if you are worried, you can just cut those out. So, and we get those on and we'll start with our onion. So this is a fairly large onion, so I think I'm just going to use half of that. It doesn't have to be pretty. I'm going to peel it, get those outer skin off. And what you find is that those outer layers of the onion tend to be more rubbery. So you want the crispness of it. So I'm just going to cut that into some chunks and just scatter those in as well. Any bits you don't like, just cut it out. Maybe a little bit more. We are going for flavor. That's what we want. And again, it doesn't have to be precious because we're going to blend this. Actually, I might end up using most of this onion, if not all of it. Yeah. Why not? Waste not, want not. So we got that on there. And I'm also going to use our garlic. And I'm just going to have that horizontally. Yeah? That kind of broke apart, but that's okay. Again, we just want the roasting. I'm gonna make sure that goes face down into our tray, and I'll scatter the rest of the garlic throughout. Now, the thing that you want to remember when you're roasting this is garlic can burn, and we don't want that to burn because it becomes bitter. So let me just get rid of our food waste into recycling, and we'll come back and we'll start our seasoning. Okay, the first thing I'm going to do, our seasoning, is just give that a couple of good pinches of salt, some cracked black pepper, And then I'm just going to use a little bit of sugar. Again, this is just insurance in case the plum tomatoes don't have the sweetness we're after. And do not scrimp on the paprika. Good teaspoon and a third. It's going to give us a nice smokiness and richness and depth of flavor. Our oregano. Now you could add dried basil as well. And I'm going to give a little kick with a couple of pinches of chili flakes. And that is our spicing. You just drizzle our olive oil over the top, using about 3 to 4 tablespoons of olive oil. And then we're just going to toss that to make sure it's well coated. So that's ready to go into our hot oven, which we preheated 450 degrees Fahrenheit, 220 Celsius, and it's going to roast there for 25 to 45 minutes. We'll keep an eye on it, but it doesn't really need much babysitting. So in it goes. While that's in our oven, we'll go on and heat our chicken stock. You could use vegetable stock if you like, with our bay leaves. So I'm just going to put that into a little saucepan. So it just goes into a saucepan with the bay leaves, and that is really all there is to it. And we're going to heat this through, and then we'll get on and we'll make our grilled cheese. Okay, while our tomatoes are roasting in the oven and our chicken stock and bay leaves are heating through, we're going to make our grilled cheese. I've got 2 thick slices of bread here, some cheddar cheese, and some butter. Really simple. We're going to brown the bread on both sides. So we're going to use some browned faces and put our cheese on that. And then we're going to turn it over and we're going to do the outside until it's melty. We'll cover it a bit so we make sure the cheese melts beautifully. Time to get our tomatoes out of the oven. Wow, those look great. Beautifully caramelized. Isn't that fantastic? The smell is absolutely beautiful. So what we're going to do, we're going to get that into our blender. Just going to use some tongs and I'm just going to put everything in, saving the garlic, which will squeeze in. Just get that. Now you can do this in batches if your blender isn't as large as this one. So don't want to miss any of this. We're also going to, here's some of the garlic, nice and soft. We're also going to make sure we get the pan juices out of this as well. So I just want to get our chicken stock that's been simmering away with the bay leaves. So I have our chicken stock on the ready, and I'll just get the rest of this into our blender and we'll add it and we'll give it a blend. Be sure we vent this, because when you're dealing with hot food in a blender, it creates steam. So to avoid accidents, make sure you always vent it. Okay, I've got our roasted tomatoes and our roasted onion in our blender container in the jar, and I've got the roasted garlic here. and you can see it's still in its skin. But all you have to do is squeeze it and it pops out beautifully roasted. And we want to add that as well. And I can show you the large half of head. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? And you just give it a squeeze. And in they go. And as I said, we want to deglaze our pan. So I'm just adding a little bit of that stock. And where's a wooden spoon? And just give that a little scrape. And we get all the fond off of our tray and in to the blender. So there it is. Now I'm going to add some of our stock now as we start to blend it. Get that back on. Make sure it's vented. And we'll start our blender. And it's that simple. I'm going to add the rest of our stock now and clean my hands. Okay, I've added the rest of the chicken stock and cleaned up a little bit, and we're just going to blend this again. Just get this ready for our blender finish. Okay, that's finished blending now. What I'm going to do is to pour this into a little saucepan because we want to, look at that. Isn't that beautiful? I can tell you it tastes great. Just finished getting that into our pan. Oh, it looks beautifully thick, doesn't it? This is exactly what we want. A beautiful, thick, rich tomato soup. So that is now just going to go onto a low flame, medium low flame, and we'll cook that for an additional 8 to 12 minutes, just to make sure those flavors blend. And then we'll finish it with a little of our sherry, which will go at the very end, and some cream. Here's our soup. Oh, it smells great. And it's nice and thick. Just what we want. And now, off the heat, we're going to add in our cream. You can use about 3 tablespoons, quarter cup or more if you like. I've got about 1/4 cup of cream that I'm just going to add in. And just stir that through. Oh, it does absolutely smell amazing. Be careful not to slop it everywhere, Gary. And then we're going to add at the very end, just to balance off the acidity, some of our Jerez vinegar or sherry vinegar. And that, oh, that really gives it a lift and balances the acidity, as I say. So, enough talking. It's time to ladle this into our soup bowl. It really is beautiful and thick and rich. And it was so easy to do. Yes, absolutely beautiful. And we'll get our grilled cheese. Oh, just give that a cut. Nothing better. Oh, nice cheese in there. Well, it's time to taste it. It's beautiful. Rich. Really perfectly balanced. Not that watery tomato soup that you often get when cooking it on the stovetop. Definitely do yourself a favor and try this oven roasted sheet pan recipe. You won't be disappointed. Well, thank you for joining me today at Gary's Urban Larder. If you enjoyed today's recipe, please give us a thumbs up. Remember to subscribe to the channel, it's free, and ring that notification bell so you don't miss a single delicious recipe. Finally, please share this video with your friends. It really helps to build our community. And if you see a hype button, please hype me. It does help the channel out. Well, until next time, bye-bye. And back to my seat. Something about grilled cheese and tomato soup.